Okay. All right. I had to come in here because I'm so excited about this. And if you are new to me, I'm Melissa Catherine. I am a transformational coach. I specialize in supporting women over the age of 40 in reinventing themselves and shifting their identity. And as somebody who has been a coach for 20 years in the world of transformation, supporting women, I have studied manifestation through and through. And what I have found is that identity trumps manifestation every time. That the times that I've really quantum leaped, the times that I have had the most dramatic shifts and change in my life is when I actually shifted my identity. Because when we shift our identity, we naturally are coming from a version of us that we are creating. And we're doing it through bold moves, and we're doing it through who we be. So today in this video, I want to share with you 4 steps to shift your identity that you can start doing today. Because I know the buzz around town is, that's right, around town. The buzz is, the new year is almost here, and what do we do with our goals? And if you're an entrepreneur like me, and if you are a woman in general, then we have 50 million balls in the air at all times. And this is about you actually seeing change. And there's a lot of conversations that are occurring within our community just around self-development and self-growth and this desire to always want to be your best. And that's the thing is, self-development is not meant to be another measuring stick where you beat yourself up for not measuring up. So for any of you who struggle, my type A's, controllers, perfectionists, that has served you really well. And it served you well, but it's also holding you back. Because if you are like the women in my community and like myself, you've achieved a lot of things and you're extremely successful, but you also know you got a lot more to give. And you know that by who you are, you're playing small, that you've always had a dream for extraordinary. And that somewhere along the lines, you bought into the story. You bought into the limitations. You bought into the Groundhog's Day of day after day and getting lost in the inertia of life. And you stopped asking yourself, what do I really want? In fact, you lost sight of yourself. And many of the women that enter into Limitless Academy and into my reinvention program will say they are at a point where they've had a lot of success, they've achieved a lot in life, they have a lot, but they want to be more fulfilled. They want more. And there's a large piece of them due to programming, due to culture, due to society, due to religion, due to all the things, especially if you are the generation of 40 and above, if you are 50, if you are 45, if you are 55, then putting your needs first as a woman, that was no bueno. That was not okay. So we're having to do a lot of deprogramming, and there's a lot of guilt and shame, or who am I? Especially, again, I'm a recovering Catholic. There's a lot of guilt and shame that comes in from religion. No matter what your religious affiliation, I have yet in 20 years to not have women come to me and have it play a pivotal part in their level of worthiness, in feeling guilt around wanting more, in the way in which they view themselves, and the way in which they price their rates. So this is about standing in your worth, and why I love reinvention so much, and why I'm so passionate about supporting women is because midlife is the main stage. This is not an ending. This isn't even the midpoint. This is like the beginning, because you're now awake and aware. And I know you are, or you wouldn't be on my channel right now, and you wouldn't have found me. And if you're just finding me, then you're awake and aware. And what that means is you're no longer letting life pull you, and you no longer think that life is just happening to you. You are aware that you are a powerful co-creator, if not the optimal co-creator of your life, and that you get to do it now by design. This is not by default. So you came into the world, this beautiful, anything is possible, love and light, like the world, right? When you see a child, you're just like, God, they think like any and all things are possible. Like money doesn't matter. Like the dreams, what do you want to be? And they're like, I could be a zookeeper. Like I'm going to take zebras to the moon. And you're like, okay, and they celebrate themselves, and they're just so happy and vibrant in life. And that's how we were all brought into the world. We were brought into the world not believing that we were less than at all. And then life happens. And it is proven scientifically, epigenetics, that we, and energetically, we are energetic beings, that we take on that of our environment. When you are an infant, you are hearing everything going on around you. And whatever things are happening in family dynamics, this is never to point the finger. We are all responsible for our lives and what we get to do with it. And there are things that occurred when we were building our subconscious beliefs, i.e. from utero until age 10, about who we are. And those beliefs, those identities, are what's driving how you operate in the world today. It's what's driving what risks you take, what you say yes to, what you say no to, how big your dreams go, how much money you have, who you believe yourself to be. Here is the key, though. For the longest time, and if you were unawake and unaware, I was as well. I didn't even learn about any of this. I was always in love with it, but I didn't even really learn about manifestation until I was like 33, 34. And even then I didn't fully understand it, right? And now I know that I know how to do it. I know that everything is energy. I know the resources and the tools. I know how to align. I know what needs to happen to go up the ladder of belief, to get yourself into energetic alignment. I know that it's not just a hope, a wish, and a prayer, and it's not going to be a vision board. There are specific things that need to happen in order for you to change your life. And if you are in the world of self-growth and self-development, it's because you're a human being and you know we're animals by nature. So even if you're sitting there going, well, I don't really want to grow, I just want to stay status quo, life is going to throw things at you. You're going to have to grow whether you want to or not. So I always tell the women in my community, use the tools, have the knowledge to know what you're learning here is going to make it that much easier so that you don't derail yourself, so that you don't spiral into a depression, so that you don't end up gaining weight or losing sight of your dreams. So what do we want to do with shifting our identity? There are 4 fundamental keys that I want to share with you today that you can do today that are going to have a powerful and profound impact on you. So first and foremost is clarity. And why I love working with women after the age of 40 is many are on a new chapter. They're in a transition, whether they're empty nesting or they had children later in life, whether they're going through a separation or divorce, or they just found love. There's all these different transitions. And you've also got the component of hormones and changes in the body. And as a holistic nutritionist, I love to marry all these things together in a holistic understanding of what's really going on. And so what I want you to know more than anything is, first, you want to have clarity. I want you to come home to yourself. I want you to ask yourself, if any and all things are possible, what would I love? Like, what do I really want? Not what do I think I want, not what makes the most sense given the position that I'm in, not what makes the most sense because I've been in this relationship, so it's the natural next order. I want to know what you really want. Like, what would, like, if any and all things are possible, it's yours tomorrow, this is it, what do you want? And I encourage you to take time with that question. For those of you that can't answer it and don't know, then it's often, you've most likely given a lot of your life to taking care of other people, whether it's children or caretaking, all of the above, or being in a service-based industry, or just losing sight of you in partnership and in life in general. So there's a process that I call dating yourself. And there's a great scene in a movie that I always talk about. It's Runaway Bride with Julia Roberts. And Richard Gere goes, you don't even know what eggs you like. And she's like, what? I know what eggs I like, right? And he's like, no, with, Tom, you wanted scrambled. With this person, you wanted egg whites. With this person, and she's like, I know what eggs I want. And then you see her in the movie, and she tries every type of egg. She tries every way in which not every type of egg, every which way in which they can be created for breakfast, like cooked, whether it's eggs Benedict or an omelet. And then she, at the end, sorry to ruin it for you guys, this movie's been out since like 1990. It's a great movie, though, if you haven't seen it. And she's like, I now know what eggs I want. She went through a process of what I call dating yourself. And dating yourself is one of the primary places that we need to start in shifting your identity, because it's getting you back connected with you. And it's also one of the foundational pieces to shifting your identity, because it's the way that I teach it. And what I'm going to say to you here, I'm not going to say this is easy. This means I'm going to have you challenge every belief that you have about you, and actually ask yourself, is this ultimately true? And is this thought, is this belief, is this identity serving me or hurting me? Is it expanding me or limiting me? Write that down. Is it expanding me or limiting me? Is it hurting me or serving me? And when you start to put your thoughts and your stories about yourself and your identities in those 2 buckets, and you go, wow, that one is hurting me, And wow, that one is really expanding me. That I love that about me. You're going to start to notice where you are. And so the very first step, we want to move into clarity. I want you to date yourself. I want you to find out, what's your favorite meal? What foods do you like? How do you really want to dress? What is your favorite night out? What's your favorite night in? How would you describe yourself to somebody else? If I gave you and I said, tell me, and you've got one sentence, who are you? How would you start to know who you are now? Because what happens in midlife is we've attached and we've morphed into who our mother wanted us to be, who our father wanted us to be, who our teachers, our siblings, our partners. And especially if we got married very young, we had to find our identity with another person. And that can be challenging. And we can also take on what they actually really wanted for us. So I want you to find out, who are you? Go on walks with yourself and just be in the inquiry. Have a journal that's just you with you. This is me dating myself journal. I'm getting clear on what's my favorite movie? What's my favorite book? Am I into art? Am I an introvert? And am I an extrovert? What do I love about me? How would I describe myself? How do I like to dress? What is my ideal date? What's my ideal night in? What really gets me going? What excites me? And I also want you to ask yourself the questions of, if I could do anything and I knew I'd be successful, what would I do? And if my success was inevitable and I never had to worry about money, because the money one comes in, do you know how many times I've asked people that question? They go, well, but how much money, if money's not, how much money do I have? And I'm like, just take the money out. You're taking care of it for the rest of your life. You can live the most epic life. You never have to worry about money again. You are a trust fund baby. You don't have to do anything. What would you do with your time? Would you want to travel the world? Would you want to write a book? Would you not want to do any of the above? Do you like being a homebody? Would you want a smaller house? Would you downsize completely? Would you go on a road trip? Right? Would you learn another language and go and have a house in Tuscany? What would be that for you? Allow yourself to start to open up your mind to opportunity and possibility. Remember, there's something called the reticular activating system. And what we feed it is what it will find for us. So if you ever notice when you want to, just say you're like, I want to buy a G-Wagon. And now you see G-Wagons everywhere. And you're like, I want a white G-Wagon. Now there's white G-Wagons everywhere. That's because you've given it a direct command. So when you give your mind, your reticular activating system, something to focus on, just like when you tell it to focus on something that you're worried about, all you will do will worry about it. And then you will end up running into a friend that confirms the very thing that you were worried about. And they have a horrible story about the very thing that you were just worried about. And you're like, oh my God, see, it's a sign. No, it's not a sign. You just actually gave a directive to the mind. So you get to place your energy, and where you place your energy, your focus goes and grows, right? So I want you to start opening up. So that's one. Two, what I want you to do in shifting your identity. So one, we first have to get clarity. What do I really want? So then I want you to look at the areas of your life. If we look at our life like a pie, right? And you've got financial, your money, wealth. Then we've got your health. Then we have relationships. Then we have spirituality, right? And then maybe we have community. You can add whatever pieces of the pie. I want you to think of that game called life, where there's like the little piece of the pie. You're going to write down your piece of the pie. And I want you to look at those pieces and do an audit where you ask yourself, how satisfied am I? How happy am I in my relationship? Could it, on a scale of 1 to 10, how full is this pie? What would I love instead? You're going to do that for each area. Health, scale of 1 to 10. Well, my health's at a 5. What would make it a 10? Right? So you're going to do these pieces of pie. You can see, you can add layers to this to gain even more clarity. I want you to also intuitively, instead of just looking at the instructions, this will be timestamped below. I am doing this live, so I will process it after. It will be timestamped below. But I also want you to intuitively notice what other questions your higher self has you, how deeper it has you go. But I want you to break it out, and I want you to start doing a life audit and ask yourself, how satisfied am I in my life? And you might find that in terms of your career, you're like, through the roof, I'm really fulfilled. Wow, this is interesting, but my creativity is at a low, or I'm really imbalanced. I'm not taking care of myself right now. So I'm totally like inspired with work and motivated, but like, wow, I'm not sleeping well. I haven't really worked out in a while. Like, I'm not eating that great. I'm eating on the fly. So that's what we want to do, an audit. And once you do that audit, then I want you to look at it and go, okay, well, what do I want in these areas? So as I told you, you could do a lot of layers. So I have a program called Reinvention where let me take you through this in a 4-month process. But I want to give you guys some context to get started because I get asked these questions often. And I should say here, if you want to know how to reinvent yourself, follow me, definitely comment. It would mean the world to me if you commented and subscribed. It helps the channel so much. I cannot even tell you. It would just mean the world. And if what I'm sharing with you is highly supportive, I would encourage you, do what I'm sharing with you, partner with a friend, and be accountability for this. It's so much fun to actually do this with somebody else because you get to, the other person stretches you. You know how you can't always see yourself the way that somebody else sees you? So I mean a trusted friend that you value their opinion and they're not like a Debbie Downer, right? Sit with them and be like, okay, I'm going to go through and like, let's sit down and just do step 2 together. And then at the end share, okay, if I'm doing like my life audit a year from now, what would I love to say? How would I love for this to have changed? Like, I want to look at and celebrate all that's good, but I also want to look at the areas that I want to change because it's only natural as humans to always want to evolve and improve ourselves. And anybody that says they don't really want to, they're just kind of numbing out to life. And like I said, if you found this, then you're an awakened, aware woman. And that's not those that just want to numb out and doom scroll and gossip and be in the negative, right? They actually know that they want more for themselves. They know that they deserve to have a body that they're so proud of. They know that they want to age backwards and be like a hot great grandma. They know that they want to feel proud at night and they know that they were meant for more. And so my invitation here with all of this is subscribe, comment. This is what I do here. And also I'm doing a Reinvention 2-week series in my shorts here, and follow. And I'm going to be giving you breakdown like bite-sized tips each day where you get to follow along and do them. And I promise you at the end of those 2 weeks, the way that I have constructed it, you will dramatically feel different. You have to show up and do it, but it's bite-sized little things because I know it can feel overwhelming. And that's why I'm just giving you these steps today. So step 1 is we're going to get clear. Step 2, we're going to do a life audit. And we're going to then go a step further and say, what would I love? Like six months from now, 30 days from now. Guys, change does not have to take a long time. Inside my academy, our membership program, we just did like a 30-day challenge, and it was like a pick your own challenge. It wasn't like a show up every day and do a photo, and it was literally like, what's one thing that your higher self has been guiding you to that you haven't been listening to? Like I shared that mine was like, please stop watching television. Like just go to bed. Because I started to notice I was getting like hooked on these like series and I love them. And, but I also noticed like, I'm like, wow, what if I took that hour instead, right? That's like 7 hours a week. That's a lot. 7 hours a week times, right? Like 7 hours or 1 hour a day times 365. What is that? Like 2 months of my life? That is going to television. And so I was sharing with the group. I always share very real with them on everything. I'm like an open book. And I was just like, guys, I was guided like no TV, and everything in me was resisting it, because when your higher self is guiding you to something, it's often not what your human wants to do. Your human's like, just stay where we are. We might not be the happiest, but we like being stuck here. It's comfortable. We know what to expect. We know that one day we're not going to like our body and the next day we are. We know that we're not exactly where we want to be. We know that money comes and money, like that's just your human. We've got to go above that. Your higher self is like, girl, you're a badass bitch. Like you're over here. Like we've got more to do in this life. So inside the membership, I was sharing, like, we just did a pick your own challenge. And what was fascinating and why I'm sharing this with you guys is that we often think that like we have to do this crazy big thing to change. And often our higher self is wanting to give us the very thing that we've been praying for and asking for. And it's guiding us. It's going like, hey, close the kitchen and eat. Hey, get up an hour earlier. Hey, start like calling those people like right when they call, or start showing up on time. It's having you stretch in some way. But when you just break it down to like, I'm just going to change this one thing, and it's what I'm going all in, that's what makes the greatest change. And that's what they, the women in our community like reflected back. They're like, it was so nice to just have one thing to focus on. And it's been huge. And many of them, what they gave up was gossiping. They didn't even realize how it was negatively impacting them, their mood, their energy. And just doing away with that, how it shifted everything. And there's so much more that I could say on that. I could just do a video on gossiping and what it actually does to your energetic body, as well as your spiritual body, and what actually happens in the psychology of people talking poorly about you in return, and how it degrades your identity. So as I'm saying this, I'm going to do a video on that because it's extremely powerful, and I don't think we recognize it. All right, so step 3 in shifting your identity and starting today with this is actually getting clear on the nuanced narrative. The nuanced narrative is something that I teach. The nuanced narrative is we have 80,000 thoughts on repeat a day. 60,000 of them are negative. Often we have a narrative that's running that we don't even hear. It's like a subliminal track, but in the wrong direction. Like I always say, listen to subliminals to reprogram you to what you want. Well, I like to think of our 60,000 thoughts on repeat as a negative subliminal track that's not really serving you, that we often don't even hear. Let me give you an example. Have you ever been driving to work or driving to the grocery store and it's almost like you had an out-of-body experience. Like you don't even remember the drive, and all of a sudden you're pulling into the parking spot and you're like, you were just having a whole series of thoughts. A whole series were going on in the background. Not even the ones that you're consciously thinking of. You might be thinking of something else, but there's a whole subset in the background. Well, that's what's going on in our nuanced narrative. And this is when, for any of you, I would love for you to share in the comments, was there anything that I want you to think right now and share in the comments, what is one thing that you know you would like to change or improve or start doing? A habit, something new. Maybe it's taking supplements. Maybe it's going to bed earlier. Maybe it's decluttering. Maybe it's what is like one thing that you've been working on. Now, I want you to think about this and understand that you consciously want it, and you might start and do it. I'm going to use the analogy of a gym because the gym is such a great analogy for so many things when it comes to mindset and identity. And you start going and you're feeling good. And you go for like 3-4 days and you're really proud of yourself and you're like, I'm doing the damn thing. I feel great. And then you just stop. For whatever reason, the mind comes in and goes, you did so good for 4 days. You don't have to go today. It's okay. And then you stop going. And then there's this romanticized window that you often refer to as, I was feeling so good when. And it was this short-lived thing, right? Well, all that happened is you have a subconscious program. And I cannot tell you the number of times I've been on with clients or I've been coaching, and they'll say to me, but Melissa, like this makes no sense because I really want to make more money in my business, especially since I work with entrepreneurs and coaches, and well, they're entrepreneurs, and marrying identity and purpose. And I'll say to them, I know that consciously, but there's a subconscious contract that's aligned with your nervous system, i.e. your inner child is how I really teach about the nervous system, that it's your inner child. And I want you to think of it, if you've heard of inner child work, parts work, I find that it's really helpful to understand that that's really the nervous system. And when we put it together, nobody really talks about it that way, but it is. And as a trauma-informed coach and working, like I said, for over 2 decades now, and have worked a lot with women overcoming different trauma, that what happens, there's so much to say here. I want to simplify it though, so it doesn't get too broad, is that there will be a program that you've created, since your mind's set up for survival, that wants to keep you safe. And often it will look like anxiety. It will look like depression. It will have you play small. And this is why I'm so committed to helping women to be visible and to be seen and to actually go for their dreams, because the playing small is not who you were born to be. And that's why it's so repressive to the body, oppressive, I would say. And so when we look at this, that nuanced narrative in the background, it runs the show, and it will have you say things. What it's really saying is, why even bother? Because it's not going to happen for you anyway. Why try? Why do that audition? Why start that business? Why are you even bothering? Why are you dating again? Why are you trying this diet again? Doesn't work. Now, consciously, you're like, this is my time. I've never been so committed. But it will wane, because the driving story, the driving inner narrative and identity is deeply rooted and tied to it not working, it not happening for you. So you don't actually identify as someone that's successful. You don't identify as somebody that can do the thing that you want. If you knew that the weight loss was guaranteed, you wouldn't stop. If you knew that the millions were on their way when you start the business, you'd go all in and be like, it's all right if it's crickets for a while. I know what's coming. And that's where I'm going to tell you that inner narrative, that nuanced narrative, what I'm talking about right now, leans into step 4. And step 4 is you have to go freaking full on Delulu. Like Delulu, it is the only way. And I know that you might think that I'm crazy. And I know that it's like, seriously, how old are we? Like, what are we doing here with the Delulu? I'm telling you right now, your mind does not know the difference between a dream or reality. And the only thing that you're experiencing in your outer reality are the stories that you tell yourself. This is why I start with self-concept. This is why when you join Limitless Academy, I'm like, you must start with your self-concept workbooks so that you can get clear. So we're going to get you to live limitless, because you've been living from limitation. And that's what we want to do away with. That's why I love reinvention so much, because the concept, we get to reinvent ourselves at all times. I just reinvented myself again, and I'm going to do it again. Is it easy? No. You have to mind your mind every day. Like when we think like, oh, I meditated once, or I had this epic visualization where I saw this whole other life. It felt great. And then I'm like, okay, did you do it again? You know, and it's like, no, I haven't done it since like 6 months ago, but I felt it. And I'm like, that's not, manifesting is about who you're being, and it's about believing. And I don't even want to say manifesting, because when you come from your identity, you quantum leap. That's why I titled this video, you are quantum leaping. What is a quantum leap truly? What it means is you're taking bold action steps from the identity of you who already has what you want. You're coming from the end. You're not trying. We're not fixing. We're not proving. And that's what our generation, 40, 50, 60, we love to prove. We came up in a generation. We were taught that you needed to prove your worth, that in order to have the things you wanted, you know, you really needed to show up this way, and you needed to sacrifice, and you needed to struggle, and you needed to work your butt off and grind till the end of time. And you got a medal if you were sleeping in the office. Like, no. That's why I teach you've got the feminine and the masculine for a reason. We all do. I've done the hard way. I ended up, I had illness. I had things. I don't need to go there in this video. I'm happy to share. But I had my next spiritual awakening where I really brought in I opened up to my full intuitive gifts, and the divine downloads were fully around identity. It is all about identity, and bringing this wave of women into that collective of rising higher through who you be, not by thinking it, and not by just putting it on a vision board and being like, I made my vision board. Like your vision board's nothing but a bunch of pictures if you don't actually believe it. If you look at your vision board and elicits no emotion, then it's just a board with photos. If you say affirmations and you're like, check, then you've not done nothing but said a bunch of words. Words are so powerful, and I love them. I want to just do a series on words, because they truly do cast spells. They are casting what you want into existence. I have a prime example of this. I was just at my niece's soccer game today, and I was sitting next to my brother on the sidelines, and she got her goal, and they were 1-1, and they're in a tournament, and I go, she's going to get the next one. She is going to score again before this game ends, and she's going to be like, she's going to get it. And I said it, and there was not an ounce in me of anything other. And I looked at my brother, I go, do you feel it? Do you feel it, right? 5 minutes before, she ended up, I don't know the terminology. I'm trying to think what actually happened in the game. Anyway, she had a penalty kick. and it looked like it hit the outside of the goal and was going to bounce out, and it went in, and I jumped up and down. But I also was like, I knew it. I said it. I literally spoke it into existence. That is just one example of like an hour ago where I did this. I'm telling you, I do this all the time. And once I saw that you can do it, now you have to go up a ladder of belief. I can talk about that in another video, but I really want you guys to just get started in the framework. If you did nothing else, but you sat down today or tomorrow and you went on a walk with yourself and you just said, what do I want? Who do I want to be? And you got clear on you, that alone is going to set off, as Jerry and Esther Hicks would say, rockets of desire to help you to attract in. But you cannot shift an identity if you don't know who you want to be. And so many women have these ambiguous words that mean nothing, that you're not tied to. So when we were talking about the nuanced narrative, step 3, I need you to be very clear. What is optimal health to you? Paint a picture. Have a few vignettes that you stick to, especially if you have an illness right now. And you guys know that I eradicated cancer in 8 weeks from my body because of what I teach. They could not find it. I went from, you need to get on a plane, there's a surgery, book it, to we cannot find your cancer. Why? I healed myself with my mind. I healed myself with my mind. I did exactly what I'm doing here. I adopted the identity of a woman who was healthy. And I lived into that, and I went full on Delulu. I did not talk to anybody that would not support that. And I did not give any airtime to the diagnosis that I heard. Now, yes, did I fall to my knees and cry? Absolutely. Did I throw my hands up to God and say, what is going on here? And you know what I heard back? God said, you're healthy. And I said, oh my God, I'm losing sight of the true me. This is just happening in this reality because I tied myself from fear, through fear, from my experience with cancer, that it was coming back. I tied myself. And if I created that reality, then I sure as shit can change it. Excuse my French. And I did in 8 weeks. And here I am 7 years later. And I say that to you because I need you to understand the power of what I'm teaching you. I, hands down, know without a shadow of a doubt that anything in your life you can dramatically change in the next week, in the next few days, in the next month, as long as you get clear on what you want, you speak it into existence, and when I say you get clear, you paint the picture and you live into it, and you don't allow any thoughts to stop you or block you. When you literally sit there and every thought that comes in, you pay attention to it and you go, that's a wrong and small thought. That's a wrong and small thought. I wish I could attribute that back to whoever started off saying that was a wrong and small thought. I don't know who that was. Maybe it was my I don't know. I wish I could. But you have to start to recognize wrong and small thoughts, wrong and small thoughts, wrong and small thoughts that keep me stuck. And I said this in my community. I'm going to say it here. And if you follow me, I'm always posting about it. But remember, you write what happens next. You are the star, the producer, the director of your movie. And I know it can feel like a lot to know that you created things that you don't want. And I also want you to know that you have the power in the moment to literally eradicate them, rewrite the story, and start a new one. And there is nothing that isn't available to you. Be bold, be you, live limitless. Your dreams are your destiny. Be unapologetically you, and covet your dreams fiercely. And don't let anyone tell you that they're not meant for you. You give yourself permission. You, no, not a psychic, not intuitive, not a YouTuber, nobody else. You declare it and own it and say it out loud. Today, right now, I declare that I'm going for my dream, that it is meant for me, and my success is inevitable because I shifted my identity. I am now a woman who believes. I am now a woman who claims what I want, and I own it fiercely. And I'm never allowing anybody else, sure as hell not myself, to be the person that says no to me. I got very clear on that years ago. I sat there and I was like, there are going to be enough people in my life that are going to tell me that I can't have what I want, or that I don't have what it takes, or that I don't, whatever. Now, granted, we could also call those stories, but whatever it is, I just sat there and I said, There is no effing way I am going to be a person that stops me from my dreams. There is no way. No way. There's always going to be naysayers, but I'm not going to be. I will not go to my grave knowing that I limited myself because I didn't believe enough in myself. So choose belief. Belief is everything. Make your success inevitable. Shift your identity and go fully Delulu. And don't allow anything else to come in to tell you otherwise. Anything that deviates, anything that's going on in the 3D reality, I understand that we can sit there and go, well, Melissa, like I would hear this, but Melissa, I have all this weight to lose. And I don't, how do I do that when my 3D reality? You don't see it. You don't see it. You appreciate who you are and you have full faith in where you're going. I'm not saying accept the weight. I'm saying appreciate that the version of you that gained the weight and has the weight on your body, there was a reason and a season. She's gone now. And so have full faith in where you're going. Appreciate the woman that brought in the debt. It's not debt. It's all just a story. You simply got a loan to enhance your life or to do something. You learn the lesson, whatever. The money will come. But remember, everything is the story that we attach to it, and everything is the meaning that we give to it. And the most suffering that occurs is because of the meaning that we're giving to things, which is crazy when you think that the only truth that exists is the one that we believe. So that means the majority of the suffering that we're experiencing is because of our perpetual belief in a truth that isn't ultimately true. We've just bought into it, and we're allowing it to dictate who we get to be and what we get to have. And that stops today. Are you with me? So if you're with me, put ready. I also, in this barcode over here, I have reinvention affirmations because I am so committed to helping you become the best, most badass, fullest, grandest version of you. So hit or click on that barcode or whatever you do, screenshot, you know what to do. And if you want those reinvention affirmations, and I take you through a process of doing them, I specialize in reprogramming the mind, the subconscious mind. And what I teach in these affirmations, they're actually segmented out by category. You can pick the one in the area of your life where you want the most support. And these are divinely coded, beautiful affirmations for all areas of your life to support you in going to your next level to truly live limitless. And I teach you how to do it in a way where you stand in front of a mirror to truly cement in and shift your identity in real time to reinvent yourself. I love you so much. I am so deeply honored to be here with you. Stay tuned every week. I go live and I also do long form videos and I have short form videos here. But if you like this content and if this spoke to you today, it would mean the world if you commented, if you liked, if you subscribed. When I say that, it helps the channel. It just helps so much. And most of all, if what I shared today helped you, let me know. Let me know in the comments below, and let me know if you any other videos that you want me to do. But let me know, out of these 4 steps, which one are you committed to? And was this helpful for you? And if you have a friend that needs it, please share this video, save it to continually come back to you. These 4 steps can change your life if you let them and if you do them. And it would be an honor and a gift if you came back and let me know how they change things for you, because I guarantee you that if you do them, your next 30 days, you will be blown away by who you become and what you achieve. So be bold, be you, live limitless, and always ask, why not you? I love you, and I will see you in the next video. All my love, guys. Have a beautiful and blessed Saturday.